We are talking about a very complex political, religious, emotional, multidimensional conflict where both sides have their interests and both sides have to make compromises. The fact that we are stuck, that we didn't manage to reach a final status agreement is unfortunate. I'm the first to acknowledge that. I really want us to have a peaceful resolution, but it's not because Israel is not ready to budge. There have been negotiations throughout the years. The ones that were not ready to make any compromise were the Palestinians in Camp David, in Annapolis. And the reason that they were not, or the topics that they were not ready to compromise about were very basic and actually touched on Israel's existence, not on the settlements and the border. It was about the right of return, for example, which means they want Israel to agree that the descendants of refugees from 1948 come back to Israel in their millions. It was also on their reluctance or refusal to accept Israel as the nation state of the Jewish people, or even to acknowledge that there is a Jewish people and that we have rights to this land. This involvement of the ICC both lacks jurisdiction at a substantial level, and I think is also detrimental to any peaceful resolution of the conflict. Both sides agreed and understood that the Palestinian Authority is not a state. By treating the Palestinian Authority as a state, this is actually a step that contradicts the agreements between the parties. The agreements are what really created a step forward for the Palestinians from just being residents under Israeli control to having a Palestinian Authority that represents them, that is treated equally as an equal partner to negotiations. So to look at these agreements as reflecting some kind of coercive measure intended to deprive Palestinians of their rights is really looking at it upside down. It's exactly the opposite. This is so political. I mean, it cries out politics, and I think it's wrong for the court to go there. And again, as I said before, it's bad for reaching a peaceful resolution of the conflict.